Hi, everyone. I'm Pip from Seymour Digital Media. You're listening to KnowHow Marketing Lab podcast. This podcast brings together different experts in marketing from our Facebook group, Cyberpunk Geeks Marketing Mixer. Each week we get on here and we talk about something search marketing like Google Ads or SEO, social media marketing from Facebook to TikTok, or website marketing. If you're a marketer or aspiring marketer, a business owner or entrepreneur, this podcast for you. We're going to share the best SEO, search, social, and website strategies. We share tips and hacks, Google Ads strategies, what's going on in the current market. Each week, we discuss something exciting and awesome in marketing.
Okay, there's the signal. Okay, it's that time again. It's time for Geek Speak. And this week we are talking about listings. So a lot of local SEO is going to be super important, especially in an age of AI. And the content game's not going to be as big. One thing that no matter how sophisticated your SEO, you can still do local SEO and start ranking well. And so that's what we're going to be talking about today. And of course, my name is Phelan with Seymour Digital Media.
And I'm Rina with Little Works Indie Media.
Awesome. And I'm just trying to share into the group, right? Because we still have to do that because Facebook's been annoying about groups. But to get started, I think one of the parts that we want to talk about is like, what kind of is a listing? That's
Yeah.
got to be the first part. We
Well,
should just make sure.
yeah, you can correct me if you think I'm wrong, Phelan, but I consider the Google business listing as part of off-page SEO. So when people talk about on-page SEO and off-page SEO, this is a component within off-page SEO. And Google business listing is exactly what it sounds like. It's a listing that you can get through Google to list your physical business and also service areas. So if you don't have a physical brick and mortar, they now have an option for service areas where you can put the basics, actually quite a few basics of your business in there, and it helps
Mhm.
to drive traffic to your website. And there's like all of the information section, and then there's this really neat little spot at the bottom, and we'll talk a little bit about that more, where you can actually add company updates, which would be similar to a social media update, except for people can't really interact with your content. But it's really nice real estate when somebody searches your company and you come up and you get the Google business listing on the right hand side of search results page. That section is really quite large. It gets people's attention with quite large photos, and you can have more up to date information and fresh content on your business listing by doing that. So that's the overall Google business listing. And there are other listings that it works similarly. So it pins on a map also, and it's directly organized on the place. What's it called again? Let me just Google
Yeah.
Maps app. So if you're on your phone, how it works really well is if you're on the phone and you want to find something like gas station near me or gift store near me because you're on the road and you're doing something and you got some time and you want to pick something up, you put that into Google, and then this is where the Google business listing will be served up. And then you can hit website to go view more information. You can hit call, or you can hit get directions. There's a couple other ones in there too, but those are the main ones. And so it can really help from a user perspective in a different way than just a search engine in my mind. That's how I think about it. Did I everything there?
No, I was going to say, just expand on that as well when you're doing any of those updates, because you can do different ones. Ones could be an update, one could be a promotion. So if you have a sale, it's really good for coming in 10% off, whatever. But the other one that's really good is event. So you can
Right.
kind of go to a specific page, and then in Google Maps, it can have what's happening in your local area, and you could show up in there as well. So not
Right.
even
Yeah.
necessarily like they're
Uh,
searching gas station near me, but they could be like Google could just feed up or just present any events because it's a local thing that's happening as an event. Yeah, so really powerful stuff there. And I'd also say that I would agree that it's an off page SEO, only
mhm.
in the sense of how I define those is that on page SEO is just SEOing your website. And so
Yes.
anything that's related on someone else's platform that's not your website, that's to me off page SEO, because you're trying to get people back over to your website. And so there are definitely some Google Business Profile is a really powerful one. It's free. It's super easy to
Right.
use. They make it easy for you to add all your information and get found. So I always recommend that for any business to do that. As well as once you've verified with Google, you can then have yourself over Bing Places. Not like it's not going to revolutionize your traffic to your website, but I've had clients where
Right. Back. Yeah.
10% of their conversions were from Bing. It was
Sure.
enough that it warranted like just having it there and making sure it was up to date. Like, you don't
Yeah.
have to reinvent the wheel. And the other good part is that Bing knows that you're not really going to invest in Bing. So they just have an import feature and then they have
Yeah.
a sync feature so that
Yeah.
if there's
And
changes.
I think that there's probably some people out there that are unaware that Bing is another search engine because it's not very well known. So a lot of people use Chrome, Explorer, and Firefox and those ones. Is Firefox still a thing? I don't know.
Firefox is the browser. So the search engine within it is,
Okay.
yeah. I know it's like Google was smart with doing Chrome and having their
Yeah.
full two
Super.
temper. Like they're both the browser and the search engine.
Yeah. Right.
Which is why they were being compelled to separate the two is because of that, what gave them an unfair advantage. And then there's other things of with listings as well. There's also things like before I get to that, there's one other thing I want to say for people who are wondering about Bing and what's the use case is generally if you are targeting corporate clients is the people I would say that you should get all your
Yeah,
stuff on Bing really good because what happens is if you're at work, you're forced to use your
right.
Microsoft computer with their Office and you have
That's
to
right.
you have to use all the Microsoft stuff because
Right.
security, corporate security. And so that's a really good use case. I found some people that did. So I had someone that was software development for large businesses. They did really well with Bing
Right.
because that's when people are like, hey, boss, or they get told, you tell a subordinate, go find me someone that can do this. And then they have to use Bing and then you're showing up there. And
Yeah. I almost think that we should probably do another topic on off-page SEO so that we can cover the whole scope of that. But
Mhm.
let's get back to the business listings because we do have quite a bit to cover in that. So that's what it is. So how do you approach and what do you do to optimize your traffic and get the most from your business listing is you need to optimize your profile. So that's number one. And it basically, like when you do the setup, it will actually show you. And even if you go in to edit your settings, it will show you what's missing and what to change. And so they have like basic information you want to use as you want to fill the space. So if there's a space that's asking for some kind of description, fill it in. Make sure it's keyword rich content. That will really help. But the thing that I wanted to point out about the content on Google Business Listing that's different than almost every other social platform, for example, is that it's also user generated. So somebody could be checking in, or I don't even know if they have the check-in feature anymore, but if they're walking by and they're leaving a review, sometimes you're prompted to review the information of the business. So it will ask you, is this the correct telephone number? Is this the right answer? Do they have this like service or product?
yeah, like
And
sure, it's useful.
yeah, it'll ask you a whole lot of different things. It usually gives you just three things and then it will move on. But so what sometimes happens is the wrong information will get up there. So it's also really important to not only optimize, but to review your page regularly, in addition to the fact that they're always adding new features and new spots to fill in. So make sure you're not just, it's not once and done, it's once and go check it regularly. So I have it on my monthly to-do list to go and take a peek. And then I also think, and I don't know if this is accurate, but I suspect that they also scan your website because there is a telephone number on my website that I use for my training and grant clients that helps people with figuring out where they need to phone to figure out if they've actually properly registered their business to get the grant. And that keeps autofilling on my Google Business profile, which I don't want. And I was part of this little scam from the United States. There was this marketing company that was putting its telephone number in my Google Business to try and get some action from, I don't know why, because I don't really get too much action from Google that's direct. So you want to check that information out. And then did you want to, was there anything that I missed? Oh, photos. That was the other thing. Photos is another thing that you can put up and that your users, your audience can also put up for you. So I like to do that for small businesses when I'm having a great experience and I have a few minutes. I'll take a few photos and upload them to their profile. That really helps and makes it more appealing for other people. Especially you see this a lot done for restaurants, like the food photos. This is what it looks like because that can be really helpful. So that's the what I've got for the first section. What do you think? Do you have anything else, Phelan, that you want to add?
Yeah, restaurants is a complete can of worms. I don't know if I don't think we're prepared because there's a couple special
No, we
rules
should.
for
Yeah, we should
quiz.
also add that to our topic list. I'm just going to make a note of that right now. Restaurants in Google business. That would be great, actually,
Yeah,
Phelan.
restaurant SEO is like it's its own whole thing because there's DoorDash and Skip the Dishes
Yeah.
automatically attaches if you sign into like there.
Yeah.
It's a weird thing that I haven't got into. I haven't worked with anyone that's done that, but I've seen it in the wild. And I'm aware that there's a menu tab and there's like a whole
Mm.
bunch of different stuff that opens up if you're a restaurant. What I would say a big one going off of making sure your profile is complete is making sure your services is complete.
Yes. Yes.
And those are super important. They have descriptions that go in with the services that are give you great opportunities to leave them keyword rich. Fill out as many. It will take you time, but just chip away at it. It's not a SEO is a long-term game. You just chip away
Yes.
bits as you can, and that's going to really make a big impact as well. We have a strategy as well of using the products to create links to deeper parts of the website. So it doesn't even necessarily have to be a product itself, but you could have it that like we offer SEO, we have like SEO training, and so you have an opportunity to link as well, so that way people can get further into your website, like directly finding it. So they go to
Yeah.
Google and they see that's a service you offer, they can go directly to that page, so they don't even have to navigate through that part. So
Yeah.
it's a good way to map out your website into your products.
Yeah, and it's actually external linking system, so
Mhm.
it's very good than just relying on the website link at the top. So you want that, but you want to actually create a really good web of links that go back to your website specific pages directly. Okay, so we started to talk a little bit about posting regularly. So the updates, you mentioned that there are promotions, events, you can put blog links up there, special offers. And this really helps to engage visitors because again, it's content that shows up at the bottom of your listing. And I think you can see 3 or 4 at the same time, and then it moves over. So you get a spot for to catch people's eyes with vibrant, beautiful photos and new content when they visit you. So that can get them to your site also. And then we already did the products and services, so make sure that's really full. Again, use as many words as you can. They give you quite a good little chunk of space, so utilize it and make sure that you do have really good keywords. So really good keywords means industry specific and that people will know. So things that people will be aware of. Let me see if I can give you an example. So I have a
I-
client.
I've got a
Yeah.
really good example just
Okay,
because
great.
it
Yeah,
speaks to
great.
exactly the service. So we worked with a client and it was that B2B client that we
Mhm.
were talking about. And what happened is that in their service, they said custom development, like custom coded development, but they used a specific keyword of ServiceNow, which is a framework that you would use to build it. When they added that keyword in, when someone typed in ServiceNow Vancouver, that they would
Oh,
show up and it says on the listing and a little special note, this listing mentions ServiceNow. So it
yeah.
wasn't like their website even was mentioning it. It was like the actual profile, and they identified that for them. And so that's a way that it shows up in ways that you're not expecting because the service is generally visible to people, but it's visible to Google. And that's
Yes.
what's really important.
Yes, yes, that is a good point. Your services are not or visible. That's true. But it does tell Google how to serve up your content better and you as a provider better than if you just do the basics.
Yeah.
I think that's just exactly what you said. So just paraphrasing.
Yeah.
Okay, and then I had a thought during that, and I think I just lost it. But let's move on, and hopefully it'll come back to me. It's, yeah.
I was going to say that the big one as well, that is a lever that I tell to every business that I work with that is local, is one of the biggest levers you can do, other than filling all this out, is reviews. Is going to be huge for your Google business profile. Because Google, I was looking at someone that was they were physiotherapy,
Mhm.
and they were wondering why they weren't showing up first. And then
Yeah.
I searched, and right next to them was two people that had over 100 and 200 5-star reviews. So
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
difficult to do. I'm not saying it's super easy. It's very tough. And Google also will randomly delete your reviews.
We're out. Do they delete them completely, or do they
Yeah.
filter them out? Okay.
So the filtering out happens if you are at the location and you try to give a review, it'll geolocate you to that and it'll eliminate it because they assume that you got a deal.
Oh, I see. Yes, your reviews need to be honest reviews. They need to be people that have done business with you. I've had actually two people recently who are partners of mine. We work together, we're starting to work together, and they wanted to write me reviews, and they did. And normally I would say, why don't we wait until we've done a project together? Because then you have very specific things to say. And so, what happens if you have general things to say about somebody? Google actually often thinks that those are fake reviews, and they filter those out. And they also filter out, for me, a lot of other marketing companies that I work with. Those reviews never stay. I have such a problem getting them to stick, and I suspect because the reviews are marketing, they're written by marketers, so they're very well written, but they're also not that specific,
Yeah.
and so too polished and not as specific as I would like. So make sure that if you get if you have a problem with that, just get somebody to edit their review, and have them try to be really specific about what it is that they loved about you, not just that make it really specific and sound like a real person rather than marketing or put it through AI. Don't put it through AI to make it look good, because that can actually be detrimental.
Yeah. And you also wanted to, like you said, to be keyword rich. And
Yeah, and
they
then
did a really good job with my Facebook ads account.
yeah. Yes, yes, yes. And then the other thing that I with reviews that's super important is you need to reply to all of the reviews.
Right.
Yeah, right away, because that actually, we do know that really affects your organic SEO in one of the bigger ways. And if you do have issues with negative reviews, there are ways to organize for that. I do have a blog post on how to handle the haters, and it really helps move you into a better light. And really, people aren't judging you based on being perfect every time with all clients. We know that sometimes there are extenuating circumstances, or communication styles don't jive, or something happens. You had a really bad situation during COVID when you couldn't get your supplies in, or something like that. So that happens. And so nobody, you know, having 100% 5-star reviews is not the goal, but being able to reply with compassion and professionally, and with some kind of resolution, perhaps, or that something that will make you look like a good person, that's really the issue. And I do have a blog post on how to do that, which I'll link in the comments. Uh,
And also, you can report them because I've had one time where someone left a
yeah,
review that was just, haven't been there, doesn't look like a very nice place. So I
yeah,
haven't even really
yeah,
engaged. Oh,
yeah, yeah,
one
yeah,
other thing about reviews, that I just want to say,
yeah.
reviews do to mean that monetary or money has changed hands.
No,
It can be one that we, like Pip and I do, is we get on a call with someone and we just quickly help them, and it took 50 minutes, and
yeah,
they're like, oh, how can I ever say thank you? You've helped them out. So
yeah,
you've provided some sort of service. And so it's not really
yeah,
worth it to go build them and all that stuff. And it just doesn't make sense. So you
yeah.
just send them the review link, and that's perfectly legitimate because you're helping people out. Mm.
They've
And
experienced they've
yeah.
experienced your customer service, and that's the important part. Exactly. So we do have a couple more to get through, and I'm worried, a little bit concerned about time. So we do have the Q&A feature.
Q feature might be because the question answers, I think it got deprecated. Don't quote me on
Okay, that's good because I was going to ask you if you know about that because I haven't seen it. So,
yeah, it
Ron,
yeah, it's part of their when they got rid of the FAQ schema, they
right.
kinda I think that went with it. Don't
Oh,
quote me on that.
does that mean they got rid of FAQ schema for websites too?
Yeah, it's deprecated now. They will not show the FAQs, so it's not.
Okay. So I can put my FAQs on the About Us page and it's all right.
Yeah,
Great. I like that. All right. Promote special offers. We covered that definitely. Link to your profile. Oh, yes. So you can add your profile link in your signature if you like. You can also, if you go into your Google profile, you can find the link on how to get more reviews. And that's the link that I actually like putting in my profile signature to encourage people to give reviews at every moment. Just have it handy there. And then the best part that I actually appreciate is once you get it all organized, you get these weekly reports or sorry, not weekly, monthly reports that tells you how much traffic went from your Google business page to your website and that can be super helpful. I find that really great.
yeah, though I will say, quick aside, that this is my grievance, that if anyone from Google is watching, that I cannot
Mhm.
collate the search term report versus any action.
Yeah.
So I
Right.
can see how many impressions that I got, but I wanna
Yeah.
know the actions. I wanna know what keyword caused what phone call to happen, and it drives up
Yes.
the wall that, like, this data should be correlatable, like,
Well,
I can make a
maybe
graph of this.
maybe when it becomes a paid service that'll happen.
Yeah.
I'm
Um,
being sneaky. We are expecting Google to turn that into a paid service at some point.
they're well, see, I don't think they will, and here's my
Yeah.
argument, is because they don't wanna it's so much around the organic search
Mhm.
that I feel like they're not going to it's like the third rail for them is to pay for like your organic rankings. It feels like that if they do that, then all goodwill's lost because
Maybe.
I feel
Yes. I
it,
know that they've
they
tried
flirted with.
yeah, they've tried to monetize and think about monetizing through organizing websites up there and other types of things. So we'll see what ends up happening. For now, it's still free though, and there's no indication that's going to change in the near future. So still, this is still a place to put some work into. Uh, and the other thing that I wanted to say is that I've just got a newsletter saying that they are going to have messages back again and they had them and then they took them away and I think that they were testing them in Canada because nobody else seemed to have that feature and then they went away recently and I got notification from them that it's going to be a new feature that they're expecting to roll out. So that'll be quite interesting. It'll be fun to engage with customers directly.
Yeah, I suspect that the reason why it went away is that it got hit with bot traffic really bad.
Oh,
Like,
yeah, it did too, because we experienced that too, so they're gonna have to figure out a way around that or to filter that out, that's for sure. And then so I guess the one thing that I just wanted to say though is that you're go back to what you had said earlier, Phelan, about how SEO is actually a long game. You wanna be careful about who you hire to do your SEO because
yeah,
there are, like, Google organized best practices, which are considered white hat SEO. There's also loopholes that marketers find, SEO people find, and they use those to rank their clients at really high. And it can work, but if it's considered black hat or gray hat, those sites will be penalized when Google figures it out. They always are. I can't tell you how many calls I get from people who say, I was on number one for years and now I dropped to I don't know, pages and pages down. And that's usually because black or gray hat tactics are being used. And I don't recommend doing that. I think that's a lot harder to recover from than the connections that you'll make through however long it lasts and so to get around the long game, you want to have a good package that also includes Google Ads because that will be the sending targeted traffic to your site right away. And you can also, you were saying, Phelan, and you can pick up on this because more about this, how the local ads work with Google business page. So do you want to pick that up?
Yeah, so if you have a Google Ads account and you've connected your Google business profile to your Google Ads, what can happen is that you will show up on the map section as like a little special icon. Generally, most of the time it's taken up by A&W or Starbucks that's just constantly running like a Google Ads campaign. That's the majority, but I've seen it for a random electrician and stuff like that that they just showed up on the map listings. That could be super. It's not like a you can't explicitly be like, I only want to show up on the maps or something like that. It's weird how it interacts. It's not a very clear distinction when it's going to happen. So I
But
wouldn't be banking on it.
yeah, so I just want to clarify what that means is when you're in an area, you will be offered up as content, and that is part of your paid ads on the map. So that's which is different than how most people think of Google Ads being in the first two sections of the SERPs up on the Google results. So that's a neat little extra bonus. But running ads to your site can be a really good thing to do while you're starting out your SEO journey because it does take a while to get your pages to rank properly, and you have to be fairly consistent at it. I recommend working with providers, but just this is one provider area that I say put some caution into because they can really mess up your organic SEO more so than if somebody messed up. I'm gonna say it. Somebody messed up your social. You can pretty much recover immediately and figure that out, but you can't recover your SEO right away. And that's all.
Or ever. If you've done
Yeah.
something black hat, the domain itself will be
Yeah,
flagged.
that
Like
too.
and it's something you can check against Google. They have a checker. So if
Domain
there's
check.
yeah, so if there's a domain that you're like, wow, that's why is that available? That should probably it's been penalized, and probably that's why it's sitting there. In the last 2 minutes, we need to talk about one other thing that's super important or it's not super important, but it's definitely something to be aware of, which is your NAP. So there'll be different
Right.
bigger websites around the web, and those will also have listings. So they usually have your name, your address, and your phone number linked to your website, maybe. And make sure that it's consistent across the web. You could use tools like Bright Local or Whitespark. I recommend Whitespark has been pretty good. We've had a couple of clients use it, and so that's been pretty good. Strongly recommend, especially if you've got an older website and you've made any changes to your business name or changes to your address. It's definitely good to just run a quick campaign to make sure that it's consistent across the web. And then there's also Apple Maps is also another listing that can be super helpful because if you just, again, it's similar to Bing. It's not going to revolutionize your rankings, but it's a nice little 10% boost kind of thing.
There are actually a lot of iPhone users who do use Apple Maps. I'm always a bit surprised by that because I use Google on my iPhone. But you want to think about your target market. That's ideal. And there's just some people that are iPhone users, and those people generally a lot of those people will be using iMaps, and that would be a good place to be listed for sure.
Or they use Siri, and Siri will
Yeah.
automatically go to Apple
Right,
Maps. Like that's the use case
yeah.
I've seen the most is like you just talk to Siri, and then it's going to use the Apple tool to then locate that business. So it's well worth it to have yourself on there. I will forewarn you that it is not my favorite to verify with them. It is the Apple Business is not the best.
I should check and see if I am verified. I know I'm on there, but it took me 5 minutes to organize it. So I feel like maybe I might have missed the verification part because that was so easy and years ago.
Okay. And it also changes. So just
Yeah.
sharing
Okay.
with with someone else. So it could be a bit of a pain because I got to do a two-step where they get the phone call and then give me the code. And so anyway, we are out of time. And that means, do we know what the topic is for next?
For next week, I think I have it right here. It is this month in the world of Mark. No, I'm in the wrong. No, I'm in the wrong. I don't have it.
Okay. Oh yeah, because it's the
This
end of the
month.
month. We're going to be updating that, and we will.
Oh yeah, next week was February 6th, right? So that
That's
is
right.
Phelan and Rina again. So the fundamentals of conversion rate optimization, turning visitors into customers. Ooh, that's exciting. So
Yeah.
it's yeah, that's great. I'm looking forward to that. So you can watch this wherever you've tuned in today. We stream it every Thursday at 11. And if you want to join us in the Facebook group, we are in the Business Marketing Mixer Facebook group. And I also host happy hour on Fridays at 4 p.m. Pacific time. Join us there for all these fun events and have a
Awesome.
good week.
Bye for now.